Hey, welcome everyone for another Dhamma talk and discussion on another Tuesday in one of our sessions that we usually have. Can I kindly request everyone to say sadhu to start the session?
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Yathavadi ko auso sadevake loke samarake sabrahmake sasamana brahmaniya pajaya deva manusaya nakenachi loke viggahiya tittati yathachapana kamehi visangyuttang viharantang tang brahmanang akatang kating chinna kukkuchang Bhava bhave vita tanhang sanya nanu senti. Evang vadi ko hang auso evamakai ti. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends in the Dhamma, this particular verse was extracted from Madu Pindika Sutta. The English meaning of it is honey ball discourse. Last time when we met, we had an introduction to that discourse. The introduction was that when the Blessed One was living in Chetavana, he has gone his arms round, or rather in Kapilavattu, he has gone on his arms round, and after arms round, he goes to the park called Great Wood, and he was relaxing there under a bilva sapling. So when he was resting, this particular person called Dandapani, who has been there also for a walk after lunch for exercise, he approaches the Blessed One, is asking him, King Vadi Samano Kimakkaiti, which means, as a recluse, what do you assert and what do you proclaim is the question. And then last time what we discussed was why people are behaving like that. When he asked the question, he was not respecting the Blessed One at all. And he was asking the question in a sarcastic manner, as if he's saying like, here go again another one. That was his possibly the perception. And that is why he's asking this question. What do you assert and what do you proclaim? Then in the discussion we had last time, we discussed so many assertions the contemporary teachers were having, and some were really materialistic, some were saying that things are permanent, eternal, and some are saying it is not eternal, only this life. And there were so many assertions, so many beliefs, and all the beliefs were gradually progressing, we saw. Everyone was introducing, adding some value to the teaching. And then here is Buddha. He is giving his version of it. And when this particular person called Dandapani asked the question, the Blessed One's answer was unbelievable. That is the answer that the Blessed One gave here. He says, friend, in this world where there are Sadevake, gods, Samarake, the world ruling higher gods, Sabrahmake, Brahma world, where materiality is very insignificant and mental process is very high, and sasamana brahmaniya, which means those who are practicing spirituality, pajaya means ordinary lay people, sadeva manussaya, pajaya sadeva manussaya, kenachi loke viggahya tittati. And in all this world, I live in such a way that I don't get into any argument. I don't get into any quarrel with anyone in the world, with its gods, maras, and the brahmas. In this generation with the recluses and brahmins, it is its princesses and its people. And that is what he says, Viggahya Tittati. And then he doesn't stop there. He goes on to say, this person is asking, what is your argument? What are you proclaiming? And he says, I'm not quarreling with anybody. And then he says, the second one is, Yatachapana kamehi visangyuttang viharanta, which means I'm living in such a way that perceptions no more underlie, sensual pleasures without perplexity. He is out of sensual pleasures. So that is the meaning of Yathachapana kamehi visangyutta. And then he said, Tang Brahmanang akatang kating chinna kukucha, which means without perplexity, shorn of worry, free from craving for any kind of being. So, which means bhava bhave vita tanha. Bhava bhave vita tanha means he's not having any craving for any kind of becoming, any kind of state, any kind of achieving a realm. That is vita tanha, means no craving. Bhava bhave means becoming materially or becoming immaterially. Bhava or abhava. And sanya nanusenti, which means I don't have any perceptions of any of those things. And then he says, Evang vadi ko ahang also evang eva makkaiti. This is what I assert and this is what I proclaim. So when the Blessed One mentioned this, the Dandapani was completely astonished, and he just could not fathom what he was talking. Then what Dandapani did was, he shook his head, wagged his tongue, and raised his eyebrows until his forehead. And forehead was puckered in 3 lines. Then he departed, leaning on his stick. So he has done all these facial expressions and tongue expressions, and he has mocked him more, and then departed with his stick, leaning onto a stick. So after this explanation by the Buddha, what he is asserting and what he is proclaiming, Dandapani could not understand. So if we just, before going any further, we will try to understand little bit more about the words he is mentioning here. The first one is Viggahya Tittati. So when you take Viggahya Tittati, in other words, no quarrel with anyone, and when you compare that with mindfulness, this is what we call unextreme principle or unopposing principle. We call it apannaka pratipadava or aviruddha pratipadava. So when we have these type of principles or these type of practices, and that is what the mindfulness is teaching you. When you don't go to an extreme, then you will be able to maintain a situation without quarreling. If you don't oppose to things, then you will be able to maintain a state without quarreling. But if you go to an extreme, then you will start the quarrel. You will start the fight. So therefore, in mindfulness, that is exactly what the Blessed One is inviting us to practice. He says, mindfulness means simple observation, non-reactional observation of the present moment. So when you observe the present moment can be anything. It can be anything. So when you have that, if you simply observe, you will not go to one extreme to either remove it if you dislike it or to grab hold of it if you like it. So therefore, you will be maintaining this unextreme principle or unopposing principle. So that will such principles will let you develop your mindfulness. Or developing mindfulness, you will be able to get to such states. Pani end. So if I give you an example, just a little while ago, a funny thing happened. I'm not saying I'm a person with Vigaya Tiktati, I'm fighting with a lot of things. Uh, but uh, but in this particular case, I was slightly different. I don't know why. There was someone who was asking, in fact, he was a monk, he is a monk, asking a sponsorship to Australia. And he was chasing me, chasing me, chasing me. And then I said, I need to know who is inviting you. So he sent some details, and then I called this guy. And he said, I don't know, I know this particular monk, but I am not sponsoring him or I am not helping him. I don't know anything about his arrival, but he's telling me that you are doing all that. Then I said, I'm very sorry, no, I'm not doing that, but he's simply asking a letter from me. Then once two of us cleared our situation, I called this monk and said, sorry, Venerable Sir, he's a very senior monk. Sorry, Venerable Sir, I won't be able to help you with this because there is no program and there is no one supporting you. And I'm in Sri Lanka, so I won't be able to take at this stage the full responsibility to help you. Then this person started blasting me as if it was my duty. It was something that I must do. So then I said, I'm very sorry. He started calling me a liar and all that. I said, yes, sorry, I'm a liar and I'm not developed as you are. And then he disconnected the phone. So why I brought that story is for one or the other reason, if someone is shouting at me, I don't just keep quiet. I will give back. But in this particular instance, it did not happen for one or the other reason. I don't mind whether he's a senior or not, if someone is shouting at me. But in this case, I was a good boy. So therefore, what I want to say is when you have such observation capacity developed, you will not go to extremes and you will be able to stay closer to the middle path. So therefore, being mindful, practicing mindfulness gradually teaches you viggahya tiktati, not to fight. It is not fighting with people. You don't fight with yourself as well. Especially when you practice, if you are observing your breath, especially at an early stage, when you don't feel the breath, we are fighting with ourselves. We forget the fact that we will have to simply observe what is there at the moment. Instead, we keep looking for breath. And when you, if you don't feel the breath, and if you keep observing that, and once you observe it, you may feel pain. When you feel pain, instead of observing the pain, say for example, unpleasant pain, you may ask why this is happening. So why this is happening means you again start fighting with you. So like that, there are a lot of instances where we go to extremes even in our practice. We oppose ourselves even in our practice. So during Buddha's time, this is again another story. It has got nothing to do with the practice as such. There was a good debater called Satchaka. And this person has come to meet Buddha with 500 people, and he has been boasting about his ability with his crowd. I am going to knock Bhavat Gautama today, and he will have to run away in shame, and he will have to stop all his big talk and all that. Satchaka has been telling. And then he went to the Buddha, and after going to Buddha, he has told Buddha, you are saying that there is no person here. Therefore, nobody is having any control over the self. And it is utter rubbish. If you want to do something, we can do anything. How are you saying that we can't do anything? See the world today, people are doing so many things and people are controlling so many things. And then it was Satchaka's argument to Buddha. And then Buddha said, if that is the case, can you change your face? You are such an ugly person. Try and change your face, because I'm not discriminating people, but this is what is in the literature. This is what is in the discourse. He is a dark person, and he's a fat person. He's with huge tummy, and he is having a very fat face, it says. So after Buddha said that, and he has hidden his head in shame, and he has gone away. And after that, it is said that he was born in Sri Lanka, and then he has practiced so well in Anuradhapura. There is a place, there is a cave. I exactly don't remember the name. Does anyone remember? He has been a very famous arahant in Anuradhapura after passing away of the Buddha. So anyway, what I want to say is, during Buddha's time, there were people looking for fight, but Buddha maintained an extreme principle or an opposing principle, because he was teaching and he was practicing just observation, non-reactional observation. So the second thing he says, kamehi visangyuttam. Kamehi visangyuttam means moving away from the sensuality. You will not be controlled and governed by sensuality. So even this is a very important thing. We, when we live our normal lives, especially in the sensual world, and for you guys, it may not be 100% applicable, but just look at people who are not coming to a practice, or who are not going to a temple, who just only indulge in their sensuality. It is like, dogs biting bones. When the dogs are biting bones, in the bone, there is no flesh at all. And there is no bone marrow as well. But he doesn't give up. Just keep biting, keep biting, keep biting. And ultimately what happens is, its own mouth will start bleeding. So he will get addicted to that blood and keep sucking. So that is what is happening in the sensual world. And that is what we call sensuality. And there is one discourse, a discourse called Magandhya discourse. In that discourse, it says that a person with serious scratching wound, the sensual people in the sensual world are enjoying sensuality like scratching wound. When you have wound, and there are some wounds, when you scratch, it gives you some pleasure. So people also engage in sensuality as if it's scratching wound, because it hurts you and it makes you worse when you get more and more indulged and involved in sensuality. But in your case, you have come out of it, and you are taking some time from that licking of the bone, or keep scratching the wound, and you try to practice. When you try to practice, when you try to observe what is happening in your physical process, when you try to observe what is happening in your mental process, and if you are able to bring your attention to the breath, if you are able to bring your attention to the walking process, if you are able to bring your attention to the pain, if you have an unpleasant pain, or anything else that happens in the particular point in time, and in those thought moments, you will be completely away from the sensuality, but you will be simply observing that particular object. So when that happens, kamehi visangyuttam, you are not involved in sensuality. So this is exactly what Blessed One says, where I am practicing mindfulness and I am not fighting with anybody. And because I am practicing mindfulness, and because I am practicing mindfulness, I will be able to observe whatever is happening in this particular point in time. Since I am observing what is happening in this particular point in time, I am not indulging in the sensuality. I am not going after sensuality. I'm ready to sleep under a tree. I am ready to sleep in an abundant hut. I am ready to eat whatever that falls in my begging bowl. And people have, in discourses, the Blessed One says, after leaving the palace, and he has been a person who has been enjoying royal cuisine, and on the road he doesn't get that. He just get things that people have cooked, and he says when he gets that in the bowl, he was not able to at least see it, let alone eat. He was not able to smell it, let alone eat. But still he has had them, and he has been having so much of stomach trouble at the beginning. So despite all that, he did not go back to the palace. He was ready to eat something that was available. So that was because of his perfections. But after enlightenment, he had perfected everything, and he was ready to be happy with whatever little he gets. So that is what he is teaching us as well. Be mindful. When you are mindful, when you observe the moment, you will get few thought moments of being away from sensuality. And when those thought moments increases, what happens is you will gradually learn the art of being away from sensuality and art of enjoying the relaxation that you will gain from being away from sensuality. So because being away from sensuality gives tremendous amount of freedom, tremendous amount of pleasure, tremendous amount of rapture. So you can enjoy that only if you move away from the sensuality. But we think sensuality is giving the happiness that we are looking for. The sensuality, only thing that the sensuality gives us is a bone which will not have any flesh. So we'll just keep fighting with it and die. Or we will keep scratching the wound, thinking that it gives you happiness. But end of the day, you will just be consumed by the pressures and the tensions that you have in the sensual world. So therefore, the Blessed One says, be mindful. When you are mindful, you will receive the pleasure that you are looking for, which is not available in sensuality. So he says, my assertion, my proclaim is not to quarrel and to be away from the sensuality. And that person could not fathom what this person is talking about. And also he says, akatang khating chinna kukkuchang. Akatang khating means he's not having any doubt. He's not having a slightest doubt about the process. So this is also very important. When the practice is developing, when your mindfulness is developing, you will be, just because you are mindful, you will be observing whatever that comes your way. So therefore, initially, when you practice, you will have a lot of, since you are moving away from sensual world, you will have a lot of sensual perception. You will have a lot of sensual desires, although you are not involved in it. So when you have these sensual desires, what the practitioners would do is they will keep observing the sensual desires. So when you keep observing the sensual desires, on the other hand, there will have a lot of resistance to it. So as a result, you may see a lot of anger, lot of restlessness, lot of annoyance, lot of irritation is getting developed within you. So when you have those things as well, the Blessed One says, keep the mindfulness to the fore. When you keep the mindfulness, because he knows when you move away from sensuality, as soon as you think, moving away from the sensuality, the mental attachment to those things will spring up. So when they are coming up as sense desire and the resistance. So when you have rather ill will, the right word. So when you have these things, Blessed One says, don't fight with them as well. Vigayatitta. Just observe. So when you observe them, what happens is, since you are not involving with them, you don't identify yourself with it. So since those thoughts are not having any owner, they will just vanish. They will just vanish. So it's like, something fallen from a tree. A good mango, a very ripe mango has fallen from a tree. No one is picking it up. So irrespective of how good and how sweet it is, if there is no one to pick it up, then it will just get rotten and it will just get added to the soil. The same way, there are these sensual desires are coming up, ill will is coming up, but you don't pick them, they just evaporate. So when these things keep happening for a long time, when it perpetuates, what happens is your sensual desire as well as the resistance or the ill will gradually subside, will gradually fade away. So when those things are gradually fading away, all what you will have is nothing for the mind to get hooked into. The mind always require some sensual perception or some ill will perception, angry perception. So when these perceptions are not there, the mind does not function. So when that happens, people are complaining that they feel very lethargic. So the Blessed One very clearly knows, as soon as you go through the sense desires and the ill will, the next stage is Tina Midda, we call it in Pali, and it is sloth and torpor. So when this lethargy situation comes up, no one is thinking that it is a way forward in the practice. They start complaining. They're falling sleepy. And is there any way to reduce this? Is my practice going well? Or is it going in the right direction? Or am I doing something wrong? So those questions will come up. So the Blessed One says, yes, it happens. You just observe that as well. Whenever you know that you are sleeping, you observe the fact that you are sleeping. And then be prepared to observe going into sleep from non-sleep situation. And if you go to a sleep situation or sleepy situation, just try to observe. And when you keep on trying that, and one or the other day, you will be able to observe that. Or even if you don't do it purposely, your continuous practice will gradually awaken you naturally. There is a natural process in that, because once the craving and the hatred gets diluted and gets challenged and gets subsided, then what happens is the sloth and torpor will come, and continuous observation of the sloth and torpor also evaporates because you don't identify yourself with the sloth and torpor. So when these things are happening, if you are questioning why this is happening, can this happen, and why it is happening to me, and is there a other way to avoid sleepiness? And in these particular discourses, Blessed One has given these advices. Why don't you recommend those advices? And this particular teacher is telling to do this when you feel sleepy, when you have sensual desire, when you have ill will. People are having lot of techniques to tackle them. And people say when someone is having sensual desire, start reflecting on the 32 foul parts of the body. And when you have ill will, there are people saying, reflect on the loving kindness meditation. And when you feel sleepy, there are people saying, start counting. All these are reactions. All these are having side effects. So therefore, Blessed One, in Four Foundations of Mindfulness, he is asking us just to keep the mindfulness to the fore. No matter what happens in this particular point in time to yourself, you get ready and get used to observing them only. So when you observe them, when you keep on observing them, it is natural questions will come up. It is natural that people will start having skeptical doubts. Buddha knows that. So therefore, he says, this will come up. That's the last hindrance that you have, skeptical doubt. So when skeptical doubts comes up, Blessed One says, observe that as well. They are coming as thoughts. They are coming as perceptions. They are coming as suggestions. Let the mind bring those things. Mind is bringing those things because you are continuously practicing. Mind some or other wants to pull you away from the practice. Mind some or other wants to encourage you to make some reaction. That is why the mind is bringing these suspicions. You don't get caught up in it. Let them come up. You simply have a laugh and observe them. So therefore, not only being mindful in this case, mindfulness will itself bring up the skeptical doubts. So when the skeptical doubts are coming up, it's a way forward in mindfulness. It is a sign that you are keeping the mindfulness to the fore. Now the mind is trying to chase you away from the path, push you away from the path. Buddha knows that. So therefore, he has seen that. He has seen that it is happening in many different layers. It is not one layer. There are many layers in which these hindrances come up. So now here what the Buddha says is, he says, akatang kating chinna kukkucha. In this path of being away from sensuality, in this path of having unextreme principle or unopposing principle, in other words, viggahya tittati, in other words, not quarreling situation, I have no doubt that this is the right path. I have no doubt that I am doing the right thing. And why? Because he doesn't get involved with anything because of the continuous practice. So therefore, when the Blessed One says, when someone has achieved the first stage of enlightenment, and he's having unwavering faith. His faith cannot be changed after that because he has walked on the path, he has had experiences, he knows exactly what is happening, he knows exactly how he has come to this path. It is not as soon as he achieves it, but after achieving, after practicing so many years, then he will gradually realize, and this is what happened those days for me, and this is how I had these experiences. So therefore, once you become a stream winner, there is no doubt about the path. So the Buddha is a person who himself has actually realized Dhamma. He is the one who has found this lost treasure. So after finding it, he spent 7 weeks, we call it Sat Satya, reflecting on what happened. He kept on practicing and checked whether he is able to achieve that state over and again, over and again, over and again, over and again. And then when he was able to go through those experiences over and over again, then he didn't have any doubt that this path is a right path, that this path is a repeatable path, that this path is a scientific path. But that scientific path is to go beyond science. Therefore, he says, Nyayasa Adigamaya, going beyond what you know. Right? So therefore, he very clearly says, I don't quarrel, I don't get involved in sensuality, and at the same time, don't get me wrong, I have no doubt about it. This is why he is called Arahant. He is not doing any wrong thing, even in thoughts, even in his mind, because he's so clear, so he is not having any doubt of what he's going through within him. So therefore, the person who achieved the first state, he will have an unwavering faith. And what happens when you become an Arahant and when you go further in the path, what happens is you completely lose your faith. Akatang kating chinnakukuchang means you have no doubt. But when you become an Arahant, you completely lose your faith. How those who have achieved the final state are called asaddo. Asaddo means those who don't have faith. And why that happens, why they are called asaddo, is because they don't want to believe anything anymore. They don't want to have any faith, because what they had the faith in, they have realized and they have reached it. So until such time you go to the pond, and until such time you take some water and drink, until such time you take a dip and take a bath, you have a faith that there is a pond. You have a faith that there is a pond where you can drink water from. You have a faith that there is a pond where you can take a dip and you can have a bath. But once you have done it, there is no need of having faith anymore. So therefore, Buddha has done it. And after doing that, he says, that is why he says, I have gone beyond faith and I absolutely have any perplexity of what I am saying. And then he further goes and says, Bhava Bhave Vitatanha. Bhava Bhave Vitatanha means for those who practice. Now here, initially he was talking about the sensuality. I am moving away from sensuality. Kame Visangyukta. Now, when you move away from sensuality, for those who practice, they will be caught up in different stages of the achievements in the practice. This is what happened before Buddha. Before Buddha, there were a lot of people who were practicing, and they were having a lot of experiences as well. And those experiences were really very attractive experiences, and the experiences that you usually get in the path. But what happens is, they don't keep the mindfulness to the fore. So they practice to the best of their ability. At one or the other point, they get caught up in the subtle, what do you call, they call it nikanti, subtle attraction that these states would have. And they are like, they are having a magnetic force to attract you when you develop in the practice. And just for example, When you go to a state, you don't feel anything. So you don't feel anything. You don't feel any materiality. You don't feel any immateriality. You don't feel any non-matter. You don't feel any thought. You don't have any pain. So there is nothing to prick you. There is nothing to make you suffer. But if you start liking, if you start craving and getting attached to that state, then you have practiced well and gone to a state, but you are liking it. You are getting hooked up in it. So therefore, that is why Blessed One says, keep the mindfulness to the fore. No matter where you go, don't get caught up. If you want to, if you want not to get caught up, then only thing you will have to do is you will have to be aware where you are. You don't allow that state to overwhelm you. You keep your eyes open. They will try to grab you. They will try to suck you in. Therefore, they call them absorption, right? No matter getting absorbed, but be aware that you are absorbed. So if you are aware that you are absorbed, then you will be able to come out. They will not be able to, completely suck you and crush you inside if you keep the awareness. So therefore, the Blessed One says, not to go to those experiences. You go there, but be aware that you are there. When you go there, be aware. When you are there, you can be aware. When you come out as well, you can be aware. So that way, if you maintain your continuous awareness, by maintaining continuous awareness, you will not go to extreme of liking. Since you don't go to the extreme of liking, you will be in the middle path. So anytime you will have the opportunity to come out of it. So therefore, it has happening. Bhava bhave. Bhava bhave means this craving can happen in two ways. One is you crave for becoming, and the other is you crave for non-becoming as well. And that craving for non-becoming, in other words, vibhava is something only a Buddha can realize. Not Buddha can realize. I mean, even others also can realize. Buddha can find out and explain. Other people have spoken about sensual craving and the craving about becoming, but the craving for non-becoming is something people can't fathom, right? So when you are attached to, or when you are in, when you like a situation where you have your attention firmly on the matter or on the breath, then so long as you have the liking towards being with the breath, being with materiality, being with form, on the other side of it, you hate the craving. I'm sorry, you hate the sensuality. So when you have the craving for materiality, you have non-becoming craving for sensuality. So this is these two, craving for becoming and craving for non-becoming, the two sides of the same coin. And similarly, when you go similarly the other way, those who are in sensuality, they crave for sensuality and they vehemently hate the practitioners, those who meditate. They say they are useless people, just keep sitting, eyes closed and hands folded, legs folded. There is absolutely no use of such people. So they don't want to see them. So they have a higher craving towards non-becoming a meditator. So therefore, when you have craving, both these craving are there. So you can see that when you go beyond sensual craving, when you go beyond craving for becoming, then you can see the craving for non-becoming. Then only you will see how much you hate the sensual world, how much you hate the meditation. Some people hate meditation because meditation ultimately gives, what gives is everything fades away, everything goes away, everything vanishes, nothing wait for you, especially when you keep the mindfulness to the fore. And that is why before Buddha, people did not keep the mindfulness to the fore. They wanted some place to have the station. So they had the station and they said, this is eternal. And that is how the gods have appeared into the equations of his spirituality. That is how the Brahma has appeared into the equation of spirituality. And those have been explained in Brahmajala discourse. So once you go beyond both these craving, then you will see how much of hate you have for how much of craving you have non-becoming. So you don't like, you start not liking yourself. Buddha found out that. Buddha said, even that's a stage of craving. So even if you come to a stage that you don't like yourself, observe that as well. Observe that as well. If you don't observe that, again you will live with craving only. So therefore, Buddha did not give all these explanations when he was introducing the practice. He simply said, keep the mindfulness to the fore. If you keep the mindfulness to the fore, all what I am discussing will happen. There is nothing for us to do. So this is why Buddha said, this guy, Dandapani, Bhava Bhave Vitatana. I have absolutely gotten rid of all the types of craving that one could have. And he says, Sanya Nanusenti. Sanya Nanusenti means you don't have at least a slightest perception to create these things, create craving again, to create any doubt, to go towards sensuality, to go for a fight. I absolutely have no any perceptions left to get hooked up into those things. And then when he said this, Dandapani was not able to fathom at all, and he could not understand what he was saying. So he had to do all these facial expressions and then mock the Blessed One and went on his walk. So the Buddha may have been laughing about it after his answer. So when I explain like this, you also may be able to understand little bit. But if you simply hear Viggahya Tittati Bhava Bhave Vita Tanha Kame Visangyuttang Chinna Kukuchang Akatang Kating, it becomes head or tail. We don't understand head or tail because they're just words. And even if it is explained in English, you may not straight away understand. But when you put that into perspective, when you put that into keeping mindfulness to the fore, and what Buddha is explaining in a different way, what happens when you keep the mindfulness to the fore? He's simply saying, this is how I achieve enlightenment. He has given few words to tell that he is not fighting with anybody, he is not having any assertion, he's not having any proclamation, but he's having a way to get liberated. So therefore, when people are laughing at the Dhamma, and we should not do that without knowing how deep and how great it is. And if you do that, we will not be able to see this universal truth that we have. So when we get Dhamma, therefore, without any doubt, we will have to take it from both the hands, very willingly, and don't expect any result from it. Just do it for the sake of doing it. Just do it without any expectation. Then it will naturally take you to the final liberation. So this is the power of keeping the mindfulness to the fore. So may you all also be able to Viggahya Tittati Kame Visangyuttang Tinna Kukuchang Akatang Kati. Blessings of the Triple J.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
All right. So we can take now a few minutes if you have any questions, any topic to discuss.
I'll ask a question one day.
Yeah,
Maybe a controversial one. But
I like
know
that.
you. Okay, good. So I know you like Goenka. Even I went there. It's good that to learn body scanning and this and that. But later, even when I went there, and also later on when I reflected on it, Goenka has some marks, in my opinion, of like a cult, in the sense that, there's the teacher, but you can't question him. You don't get answers to what you want, maybe. And like this, and you get sort of, you have to do certain things to stay in Goenka. Can't just go there freely and just come and go as you please. What is your thoughts on that? You agree or
No,
disagree?
this is why I'm not undermining Goenkaji's techniques, the strength of Goenkaji's technique. But although it's a very good technique for people like us who have, very tight schedule, it's a good program. Anyone can go there and learn the practice, but it is lacking a lot of things. The things that it lacks is it is not having progressive talks. It is having the same talks, the 10 talks that the Goenkaji is having. And the assistant teachers, they aren't, I'm criticizing left and right now. Assistant teachers aren't able to explain it using Dhamma. So what they say is, if something happens, if you go and ask a question, what they will simply say is, you either observe breath or you observe sensation. And they call observation of sensation is vipassana. In a way, yes, but not all the time. There are two other steps. It will not only stay with it is not only staying with sensation. It goes to state where there is no sensation as well. It goes to state where the mind is 100% active. It goes to states of cyclical happenings, and those things they completely ignore. And like that, they don't have proper discussion. So there are a lot of supportive factors that the Blessed One himself has suggested, and those things are not incorporated. So therefore, although it's a good practice, a lot of people are going there and practicing and getting addicted to it, and they get absorbed into certain situations. And not that some people are having experiences, although they have experiences, they aren't able to explain the experience. So therefore, there are few things that should get corrected in that thing. So since I have done that, since I'm now practicing mindfulness, so I know both the worlds. So the Buddha also has said, keep the mindfulness to have the body as the focal point, because anything that happens in our mental or physical sphere will get in one or the other way reflected in the body. So to that extent, you should have the focus to the body. But you can't say 100% you must be with sensation all the time. That is not possible, and even Buddha does not ask us to do it. He says, you go to a situation where there is no pain, no pleasure. So no sensation. So the only sensation that you have is sleepiness or boredom. So therefore, it's a very good technique, but there are things that should get added onto it so that it can go a long way.
If I put another thought to it, like it is predicted that, there would be Dhamma that's presented as the Dhamma, but it actually isn't. Would this be potentially a case like that?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
So the Buddha predicted that, in the future, there will
Yes.
be Dhamma, but it's not the Dhamma. It's not, it's not nature. It is other viewpoints being presented.
So are you saying that this is how Dhamma gets eradicated from the world?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yes,
prediction.
yes. I mean, in a way, it is getting diluted because when Buddha is not there, all what we will have to rely on is on the literature and the practice. So far as literature is concerned, there are so many types. Practices are concerned, there are so many types. So that is the reason why the topic in Brisbane's retreat on Sunday was how much Dhamma should we know to practice? Because people are confused by the availability of the knowledge. So Buddha did not have any knowledge when he enlightened. So people now, before practicing, they want to gain the knowledge and practice. So it's going in the wrong direction. So creating subjects, creating departments, creating universities for Buddhism is the destruction of Buddhism, because it gets institutionalized and no one is practicing. People start relying on the degrees and the PhDs and the decorations they have, and someone who is practicing in the wild will not be considered as a person who is able to explain them. So the destruction has already happened. But when you compare Goenkaji's practice in that way, he's doing some service to keep Dhamma. Which service he is doing?
Is it a question to me?
No. I'm saying he's doing a big service in that way. Goenkaji, although he's having certain things that can be added on, but he's not destroying Dhamma 100%. He's saving Dhamma and he's prolonging Dhamma, perpetuating Dhamma.
Teruvan Saranai, thank you.
Teruvan Saranai. Right. Any other questions, reports, please?
Sorry,
Yes,
Master.
Ishan.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I'll go to Ishan first. Sorry, Tanka.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yes, Bhante, just another question. So, just regarding breath meditation. So, in terms of like in the mindfulness suttas, etc., when the Buddha describes the breath meditation, he describes various parts of the breath. So, when you're actually like observing this, the breath, we actually see a lot more sensations. So, are those what you call things that are mentioned in those suttas like signposts to say these are some of the things that you can say, but there is actually more that you can see when you apply mindfulness? Is it something like that? Because
Yes.
that sort of thought came to me when I was after going through this particular practice and then reflecting on the sutras and the methods, and also when you look at the breath, like, I mean, there are certain practices where they say it's going to be one-pointed, but actually when you look at the breath, it's always changing, like it's going in or out, or there are certain aspects to it. So it's actually when you're paying attention, it's you're being mindful of different sensations. It's not like a one stopped at one place. So I think how did that teaching come about to say that you should only be on this particular object and you should only observe this particular sensation of making the mind one-pointed? Is that a teaching that has come across from somewhere outside? Because in the sutta, it doesn't actually, just reflecting on it, it doesn't actually mention to say continuous awareness on the breath. It just says to note the different aspects of the breath. Is that interpretation correct, Bhante, or is that?
So there are three things that you're asking, if I'm right, if I understand the question well. One is the stages of the breath, and whether we'll have to observe the stages of the breath or whether we should go through the stages of the breath, and the other feeling of the sensation, and the other whether one-pointedness is correct Or what's the other one you said?
Yes, but I mean, when they say one-pointedness, what does the one-pointedness actually mean? Because the breath is constantly changing, so it's not like for example, if you're caught on one particular object like one-pointedness, you would think, okay, you have this particular, say, a spot or something, and you just know about that spot, but actually you're knowing different.
No, you said the Sutta does not say one-pointedness, but
Yes.
instead Sutta says something else. What was that?
No, that it mentions the stages of the breath, Bhante. So it says
Stages of the
initially you
breath.
should
Yeah,
know
okay.
in and out breathing, then
Yeah,
after that
yeah.
you might know length of the breath, etc.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, what
So-
happens is when you keep the mindfulness to the fore, you initially observe in and out breathing, and then over time you will see your breath start changing, right? So then not only the in and out breath you observe, you start observing the how the breath becomes subtle. And once you keep on observing that, it goes to another stage where now you are more close with the breath. When it becomes subtler, with that subtle breath and subtle mindfulness, your attention dives into the body, because the subtle breath is going into the body. So you are with the breath all the time. So therefore you are with the body all the time, if that makes sense. So since you are with the body all the time, you may feel the body more than the breath. And also it goes to a state where you don't feel the body at all. It says, Passambayam Kaya Sankara. It will go to that stage where the mental volitions, mental proliferations will subside. So these are the stages. And if you keep on observing this, I will come to how it gets one-pointed, how the word one-pointedness come. So when you keep on observing this, now when you are with the body, when you don't feel the breath in the body, you have sensations only. Body is not only having breath, body is having all other biochemical processes are happening. So you will be able to observe those biochemical processes only as a sensation. So therefore, when you have the attention to the body, you will see sensation. So that is the process, and those are the stages. Now the question is how you become one-pointed. So when you hear the word one-pointedness, it is giving a false impression to the listener or to the reader. One-pointedness here means you have unwavering attention. You let the things change and you have become one-pointed. Not that you hold on to one particular thing. Things are changing. You're observing the changing phenomena. To observe the changing phenomena, you will have to be, unwavering stick in the river. There is a lot of flow going on. There is a lot of flood going on, but your stick is firmly stuck in the mud, and you are holding on to the pressure, and you see what is happening. So therefore, you are one-pointed, but the things happening around are not one-pointed. But the impression that the listener or the reader will get is that you will have to have one thing. It is not one-pointedness. So does it make sense? Am I explaining it right?
Understood. So just to summarize on the one-pointedness, what you mean is when you're observing multiple phenomena, when you take yourself as the point of reference or as the observer, that is sort of becoming like a one-pointedness. It's not necessarily that you are only focused on one particular
Exactly.
point, sort of thing. Understood.
Yeah, you don't have any one object, but your mind is not scattered. Your mind is just now only observing.
Understood. So that is the in that particular method, Bhante, that you described. So that is what should come out of mindfulness, as opposed to someone who doesn't understand would be trying to grab onto one point. Is that something like that in terms of the different?
No, I'm just explaining because you asked the question. Don't try to achieve anything. You simply keep observing.
Understood, Bhante.
Yeah. So if you try to achieve something, mind will try to preconceive things, and mind will try to take you there, which itself is not mindfulness. Mindfulness is let any damn thing happen, as you just said. You simply become an observer.
Understood, Bhante. Thank you.
Theruvan Saranai. Theruvan Saranai. Yeah, Tanukupata.
Yes, Swami Hansa. This is in relation to Chatu's question from earlier. Isn't it said that Dhamma gets diluted in like 5,000 years until the next Buddha becomes enlightened or something like that?
Yeah. There is something like that. But I remember Lokuswami. No, I remember Lokuswami Nahanse says that it is nowhere found in the discourses. But one thing I found in the discourse is people are not talking about it. If so long as someone is practicing 4 foundations of mindfulness, Dhamma will never die.
Yeah.
We are trying to put the Dhamma in the coffin and, put all the nails and, throw the coffin to the water. But Buddha has said, practice mindfulness, and nobody will be able to kill it all.
Yeah.
So those who are saying that mindfulness or practicing at least meditation is not necessary, they are only killing Dhamma. But we are keeping really life, because we directly practice the Buddha's word. What he has said is keep the mindfulness to the fore. Just mindfulness is not enough to fall onto Buddha's side. We must keep the mindfulness to the fore, because before Buddha, mindfulness was there. What simple thing he did was he said, don't drop mindfulness ever. Just keep it, let it perpetuate. Then you will end up only in enlightenment.
Yeah, because I was having this conversation with Amma once, and yeah, she was saying how like it was said that like the humans Aisha will go down to like 20 years because like people will start killing each other and all that stuff. Like humanity will reach like a really bad point or something.
Yeah, no, Buddha has mentioned that. That. There is a discourse called Chakkavati Sihanada Sutta. There is a discourse called Anganya Sutta. In those discourses, those have been explained. But this 5,000 story, I don't remember anywhere, and even I remember Lokohamdru also says that he has not found. I may be wrong. So, but there is no need for us to think about those things. We don't have any 2,600 years on the earth.
Yeah.
We have 70, 80 years, but we can use those 70, 80 years to enlighten 7, 8 times.
Yeah.
So get ready for that, Theruvan Sara.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Anybody else? Any other questions, please? So if there are no questions, we can transfer merits. To transfer merits, who did last time? Can I catch Kusal? Is he there?
Yes, Swami Nansa.
Yeah, if you can transfer merits, appreciate very much.
Sadhu, sadhu. May all devas share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all other beings share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all the beings share this merit which we have just accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect the dispensation. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, Devas and Nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect the teaching. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, Devas and Nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect me and others. If by deed, speech, or thought, heedlessly I have done any wrong, forgive, O Master or Victor, greatly wise. If by deed, speech, or thought, heedlessly I have done any wrong, forgive, O Dhamma, to be seen here and now, timeless. If by deed, speech, or thought, heedlessly I have done any wrong, forgive, O Sangha, practice well the incomparable. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives and may they be happy. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives and may they be happy. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives and may they be happy. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise up to the time I attain Nibbana. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise up to the time I attain Nibbana. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise up to the time I attain Nibbana.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much for joining. We will meet once again on Tuesday.
Thorough,
Teruvan Saranai, Teruvan Saranai, Teruvan Saranai.